We welcome now White House correspondent for the Daily Signal, Elizabeth Mitchell. Elizabeth, it's great to see you. Thank you for being here. So you have in recent hours all these European leaders at the table with the president. It appears they understand the stakes for their own countries as well. How is this show of unity playing into the strategy, putting the pressure perhaps on Putin to get him to the table now with Zelensky?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I think that these leaders painted a very strong picture to Putin because they all were together in the Oval Office making this agreement. It's clear that Trump is willing to meet with Putin as well after this. He said that Putin has promised that he will meet with Zelensky in the next few weeks. And so the three of them are expected to get together in the coming weeks and hopefully shoot for peace. We know that's been President Trump's goal all along. It was not necessarily his goal in his first meeting with Putin. It was just to listen and see where he was at. Then he met with Zelensky and did the same. And then soon, hopefully, we will see all three come together. And instead of just listening, really talk and make a deal.
Right. And, you know, we heard Robert outline this in his reporting, that no ceasefire in the meantime means Russia continues to press forward on the front lines of war. How much, Elizabeth, does that complicate any territorial discussions of land that may be ceded to Russia? Does no ceasefire also perhaps make it more alluring for Putin to drag out these discussions even further?
That seems very possible. Russia struck Ukraine very recently, in fact, even after Putin met with Trump. And I think something to keep in mind here is that Putin really does believe that Ukraine is part of Russia, so he's not going to let go of the territories so lightly. But of course, that is going to be an issue for Zelensky and the Ukrainian people. So we'll have to see who's willing to cave a little bit on that.
Right. And, you know, no commitments firmed up yet on this Putin-Zelensky meeting that's been talked about. The president wants to get it on the books, of course. But, you know, with all these European leaders now at the table and after the Alaskan summit, what might the fallout or consequences be if it's determined Putin is purposefully now stalling this process?
I think that President Trump will, of course, have very strong words for him. He's repeatedly saying 7,000 people a day are dying, and he wants that to stop. He wants peace, and he's definitely going to use some strong words. But of course, he has promised that there will not be boots on the ground, but he might be willing to send in air troops, and so that's a possibility to give some of that pressure as well.
Right. You know, and there's now work on the security guarantees, that proposal for Ukraine. The president has ruled out American boots on the ground. But as you know, many of his staunch supporters are skeptical of getting roped in to this conflict. So what are the greatest challenges for President Trump as he works to get Putin to the table now with a workable deal?
I think, like you said, the MAGA base is extremely skeptical of sending American troops over to fight foreign wars. I think one of the reasons that he was elected was that people believed that he would not entangle the U.S. in foreign wars. So he's definitely in a difficult position in which he's the deal maker in chief. As he says, he's trying to make peace in this situation, but he is limited in that if he were to send U.S. troops, even in the air in any capacity, I think that his base would be very upset. His allies in Congress would not be supportive of that. So it's definitely a tough line to walk.
Yeah, certainly is. All right, Elizabeth Mitchell, great to have your insight on this. Thank you very much.